UFC President Dana White has just threatened Jake Paul with legal action. If you've been following Jake Paul's fight callouts, you'll know that for a while he has repeatedly made UFC fighters his primary target, even calling Dana out multiple times for ducking him. In response, Dana has usually suggested one of his female fighters to knock out the villain YouTuber, but now he has stepped things up with legal action. I'm gonna get into all the details in a moment, but first, if you could do us a big favor and please smash that like button, we'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's begin. At first, when this whole YouTuber boxing thing started, it was simply creators fighting other creators. Then the sport evolved to include other professional athletes, and now because of the Paul brothers, real fighters are also being brought into these exhibition games. For really no other reason than money and protecting their own pride sometimes. Because if there's one thing Jake Paul knows how to do, it's rile people up and make them so angry that fighting him now seems like it was their idea. He's really just pulling people into these big money fights because he knows taunting someone will usually get them to bite on the deal. After Jake Paul's recent defeat of MMA fighter Ben Askren at the Triller Fight Club event, he set his sights on more UFC fighters. While speaking with Yahoo Sports after the fight, Dana White was questioned about Jake Paul, saying that he wanted to fight MMA legend Daniel Cormier. In response, Dana was not happy and said, "Why don't you fight a boxer? Why the do these guys keep talking to UFC guys for?" He then says, "I'm going to have to slap them with another legal letter, these idiots. Go talk to boxers, what are you doing?" So clearly he is not pleased at all by these boxing match callouts that Jake Paul has been doing, and even suggested that this is not the first time that he would have had to slap them with legal papers. I mean, I see why Jake is attacking MMA fighters. It's because while yes, their strikes are insanely powerful, most of them train in other areas of fighting. You know, ground game, submissions, kickboxing. When it comes to strictly boxing, it's an entirely different dance. Plus, there is no way this is beneficial to Dana White. If one of his fighters gets hurt or claims to represent his brand and then loses, this hurts his bottom line. So why would he ever do that unless he knew for sure that one of his fighters could put Jake to sleep? I mean, which he has. I believe he said that Amanda Nunes would put him in a coma, to which Amanda replied, "I'm in." And while appearing on Impulsive after his win against Askren, Jake took multiple shots at Daniel Cormier. He called him out for saying that Ben would win, and Daniel's subsequent flip to cursing Ben out on Twitter for losing. Jake then went on to fat shame him and then said that he would knock him out just like Stipe did. Although, despite mocking him, Paul did recognize that Cormier at least recognized his win over Askren by turning on him like that on Twitter. He would later say, "I respect him, I think he's great, he had an amazing career. I'm appreciative of what he's done for the MMA community, but don't switch up on your boy like that. It shows your true character. And by the way, I will fight him. Let's run the pay-per-view." Dana apparently was absolutely shocked upon hearing that Jake wanted to fight Cormier, which is surprising for sure. But I don't know what's more surprising than when he was challenging Conor McGregor. That to me was like, bro, you are stepping way out of your realm. To me, that's a crazier challenge to make. If there's anyone he should fight, it's Tyron Woodley, and because of Dana publicly airing his frustration with Jake Paul, this fight could actually happen. According to TalkSport, Woodley has confirmed that he will hold talks with Dana White about the potential of fighting Jake Paul because he also wants this dude to shut up. His words, not mine. The two even had an altercation at the fight with Askren.
I don't play games. If you really know how I get down, you know how to play games.
Oh, you know I really get down too.
Well, you just said your boy's gonna win, but you won't bet on it.
I was verified before fighting, so.
To me, that would be a good fight, but at the end of the day, Dana is right. Jake Paul should stick to challenging people that strictly fight in the world of boxing. It just makes more sense. We also don't know if this legal action mentioned will come to fruition, but I suppose that depends on how much further Jake Paul decides to take things. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled "Jeff Wittick Proves David Dobrik Caused Life-Threatening Eye Accident." It's Lanny Booze says, "Now I feel like Liza was cool to leave him." I mean, maybe that was why, because he takes things a little too far. It's possible. Definitely makes her cool. Dila Raymond says, "I noticed David never endangers his own life." That's an interesting trend to notice, and we too noticed that. Mistake says, "Dobrik made millions off the back of his friends in questionable and dangerous situations that he would never do himself." Yeah, he always seemed like to be just the one conducting these things and then letting his friends take the fall so that he could take all the views. You're 100% right on that. Finally, he's being called out. Last says, "Well, that clarifies why Jeff didn't say more about his eye on frenemies. He knew his video was going to drop and didn't want to spoil it." 100%. He definitely wanted to tease it a little bit, but even when he was on Impulsive, he was hesitant about taking his glasses off and showing what his eye actually looked like. He was saving it for that thumbnail. Maria says, "Aren't y'all Canadian? I'm sure you know the difference between centimeters and inches. LOL, just pointing it out, you silly Willy." Yeah, I saw people harping on me. Like one person was like, "He can't stop lying. The difference between millimeters." They said millimeters and I said inches for some reason. I don't know why. It was a mistake. That's it. I'm human. I make mistakes sometimes. It was millimeters. I said inches by mistake. I'm correcting it now. But that has been today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube.